Now, Roddy Ricch in 2022. It's been a little while since we talked about the boy Roddy Ricch. I wanted to have a little discussion about his career in 2022, what I see for his future, where he's at right now career-wise, and some other things. With that being said, let's talk about it. Now, Roddy Ricch, a rapper you most definitely are familiar with. Roddy was at one point one of the hottest youngins coming up in the game, if not the hottest. He of course blew up back in 2018 with Die Young, had multiple other records that were going crazy that year. That was also the same year he dropped Feed the Streets 2, which took his wave to a whole nother level. Roddy Ricch climbed pretty damn quickly in the game. I think it was a mixture of a lot of things that Roddy had as a rapper that made that possible. He's one of those rappers who, when I found out about him, I knew instantly that he was gonna blow up. It was just one of those cases where you heard the music and it just made sense, if you know what I mean. As we all know, the stance on Roddy Ricch these days is a little iffy. His last project, Live Life Fast, which dropped on December 17 last year, wasn't all that well received. It was definitely a weak follow-up to the project he dropped prior to that one. Please excuse me for being antisocial. So all the negative reception Live Life Fast got, it makes a lot of sense. I think as far as antisocial though, that album really just was damn near flawless. Most definitely one of the better debut albums from a rapper under the age of 25 in the last couple years. Roddy made sure he came correct on that debut, and it paid off because Antisocial was one of the biggest releases that following year, and that's of course thanks to The Box, which went beyond global. Sometimes I wonder if Live Life Fast only got so much negative feedback because he set the bar so high with Antisocial. Personally, I never expected Roddy to top Please Excuse Me with his next drop. I think that album was really just a different case, an anomaly if you want to call it that. That being the case, man, Live Life Fast was not a good project. I think the most worrisome aspect of Roddy Ricch's career is the fact that he lost so much of what he came in with in the game overnight. At least that's what it felt like after Live Life Fast. The sophomore slump hit Roddy Ricch pretty damn hard, and it could be for various reasons. How exactly did Roddy Ricch go from one of the most promising young rappers in the game to essentially getting kicked off that pedestal after one miss? I think that simply comes down to the fact that the contrast as far as quality goes between Please Excuse Me and Live Life Fast was just too damn much, because a lot of rappers have dropped subpar projects, especially on their sophomore release, and people have still cut him some slack. For Roddy though, that gap was just so big to the point where it was hard to justify the lack of quality, but especially lack of substance on Live Life Fast. That's one thing about Live Life Fast. Roddy didn't really have a lot to say on it. Not that Roddy Ricch has ever been a substance-driven rapper. That's not when most people listen to his music, me included, but the little substance he had didn't really register like that because it didn't sound like there was a lot of effort behind it. That was another big criticism of this album, and it was valid. A guy who's capable of making records like War Baby and Down Below, dropping this, there's a big disconnect, and it was kind of hard to ignore. As far as Roddy Ricch's placement in the game right now, first of all, I don't see too many people talking about Roddy. Roddy doesn't really come up in the conversations like he used to. A lot of people have, from what I've seen, moved on from his music because Live Life Fast left such a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Also, Roddy isn't as highly rated as he once used to be. Up until before Live Life Fast, he had a pretty solid track record. I mean, Feed the Streets 1 and 2 were both out at that point. On top of that, he followed that up with Antisocial and shot himself up to the moon in that process. So the lens Roddy was being viewed through was one of consistency. I think a lot of people at this point in time are looking at Roddy Ricch and asking themselves, does he have what it takes? For Roddy, I think he really has to make sure he comes correct on that next album, because the perception of him right now after that last drop, it ain't a good one. There's a lot of doubt from people projected his way and whether or not he has what it takes, so we most definitely got something to prove. Word to Lil Baby. At the place Roddy Ricch is currently at, I don't really think he can afford to wait too long to drop another album. The way I see it, he has to take another swing at it sometime this year, because that 2-year-long wait between Antisocial and Live Life Fast clearly wasn't cutting it. I think he's gonna drop Feed the Streets 3, which has been in the works, sometime this year. That could be a hit or miss depending on how that plays out. Roddy did recently drop a little EP titled The Big 3. It consisted of 3 different songs: Real Talk, which I think is the best song on here, Tootsies, and No Mop. Real Talk is really the only song that I like on here. I don't know what the purpose of this EP was. Was it supposed to serve as a little appetizer for that next album or Feed the Streets 3? Because this drop did seem a little random. I didn't see too many people discussing this drop, by the way. From what I saw, a lot of people didn't even know that Roddy dropped, which does worry me a little bit. The fact that a Roddy Ricch release went so much under the radar is kind of alarming. But then again, it was a little EP with 3 songs, so I don't know how much noise it's supposed to make. That aside, Roddy Ricch in 2022 2022. I don't really know what to expect from Roddy at this point, man. I do want to see him on top once again, but the question is, can he do it? Roddy is no doubt in a very good position overall. He's already at the top of the food chain in the game, has an extremely powerful #1 record under his belt. Antisocial ended up going double platinum as well, so Roddy ain't starving, that's for sure. But how is he gonna proceed from here? Believe it or not, there is a lot of pressure for Roddy to perform on that next drop, especially since a lot of his peers are doing so well right now. Whether or not he comes out on top after that next release, I guess only time will tell. But yeah, Roddy Ricch in 2022. Any thoughts on this conversation surrounding the man Roddy Ricch? Are you guys still checking for Roddy Ricch? Are you still listening to his music? And last but not least, when he eventually drops that next album, will you be listening? Curious to hear what you have to say, so yeah, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and like this video. Let's talk about this.